Circadian rhythm disorders. Part 1. What is the circadian rhythm? Your sleep cycle has three drives: the C drive, which is the rhythm, the S drive, which is the drive from wakefulness to sleepiness, and the social or societal drive, that is how culture influences sleep behavior. Disturbances in circadian rhythm, the approximately 24-hour cycles that are endogenously generated by an organism, can be categorized into two main groups: transient disorders, which are jet lag or changed sleep schedule due to work, social responsibilities, or illness, and secondly, chronic disorders like delayed sleep phase syndrome, advanced sleep phase syndrome, and irregular sleep-wake cycle. Sleepiness or insomnia is defined as difficulty initiating or maintaining sleep. Consider the following to determine the nature of the patient's circadian rhythm disorder. The duration of symptoms, is it transient or chronic? Pattern of the sleep-wake cycle, allows diagnosis within chronic subtypes. Shift work, rotating mornings, evenings, night shifts versus a consistent work schedule. Total sleep time, is it normal or shortened? Peak alertness, are they alert in the late evening, night versus are they an early morning person, or is there no pattern? Recent travel, symptoms may come from high altitude flights or they could be suffering from jet lag. Daytime sleepiness, seen in all circadian rhythm disorders with varying severity and timing. Physiological assessments. Cognition, or the impact of circadian rhythm disorder on complex cognitive thoughts such as selective attention and executive function. Patient attempts at treatment. Are they trying sleep aids? Do they drink alcohol or take herbal preparations before bed? Medication, history and timing of administration, snoring with or without sleep apnea, other medical conditions such as congestive heart failure, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chronic pain syndromes, or thyroid disease. Are there environmental cues, light intensity, noise level, environmental temperature, and proper sleep hygiene, i.e. exercise or a stimulant intake before bed? Any history of motor vehicle accidents or other accidents due to decreased alertness and or excessive sleepiness. Part 2. Night owl or morning lark. These are normal variances, however, they will affect your wake and sleep cycle. Morning people wake up early, but they get tired later in the day. Night owls have more energy and are more alert later in the day. Even though most adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a 24-hour day, exactly when our bodies naturally tend to fall asleep and wake up each day can vary. Scientists believe that people have inherent differences in when they sleep and wake best. This natural pattern is chronotype. Whether you're a night owl, an evening person, or a lark, a morning person, is partially determined by your genetics. If you know your natural tendency, it might help you understand how to adjust a particular shift schedule. For example, if you've always been a night person and feel most productive in the evening hours, an evening shift might work best for you because your circadian rhythm allows you to be alert in those hours. If you've always woken up early and felt sharp and energetic in the morning, a night shift may be particularly hard for you. Some people fall in the middle of these two tendencies. If you don't have a strong day or night tendency, you may try different shift hours to see what fits best for you. Certain people are also more affected by schedule changes overall. The internal clock has a harder time adjusting, and changes in sleep hit them harder than others. These people should be diligent about protecting their sleep time if they are working night or rotating shifts. Part 3. Advanced sleep phase. This is usually seen in older people. It usually causes people to go to bed early and wake up between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. So people who are older, they tend to go to bed earlier, around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., but they're waking up earlier, around 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. They're still getting their normal sleep. They're just not getting it in the hours that they want. The quantity and quality of sleep is generally normal. Advanced sleep phase syndrome is a disorder when the timing of sleep and the peak periods of alertness are advanced several hours relative to societal clock. People with advanced sleep phase syndrome generally have difficulty staying awake unless they go to bed very early because their internal clock is already at a relatively quiet state and wake up very early at what is considered a normal time in the morning. They're unable to fall back asleep because their internal clock is already producing strong alerting signals. Unless other sleep disorders such as sleep apnea or insomnia are present, an individual with advanced sleep phase syndrome sleeps well when going to bed and waking up early, but this syndrome makes it difficult to stay awake in the evening and be engaged in social activities. Sleep quality is not impaired by this syndrome, but afflicted individuals may have short sleep duration if the delay in their bedtime. Nonetheless, people with advanced sleep phase syndrome do not report that the syndrome affects their daytime work or school activities. Their most common complaint is that their evening activities are cut short by the need to go to sleep much earlier than what is considered the norm. This can affect family and social relationships. Individuals with advanced sleep phase syndrome should be cautious about driving in the late afternoon and evening because they may be too drowsy. They also do not adjust well to the evening or night shifts. The prevalence of advanced sleep phase syndrome in the general population is unknown, although it is most prevalent among older adults. Advanced sleep phase syndrome has the same prevalence among men and women. Researchers have also found that strong genetic link 40% to 50% of people suffering from advanced sleep phase syndrome are related to someone who has the syndrome. Part 4. Delayed sleep phase. Delayed sleep phase is a disorder in which a person's sleep is delayed by 2 hours or more beyond what is considered an acceptable or conventional bedtime. The delayed sleep then causes difficulty in being able to wake up at the desired time. For example, a person with delayed sleep phase syndrome may fall asleep after midnight instead of 2 p.m., and then will have difficulty waking up in the morning for work or school. People with delayed sleep phase syndrome generally have difficulty falling asleep unless they go to bed very late, usually some hours after midnight, because their internal clock is sending alerting signals until late into the night. They may wake up at normal time in the morning because their internal clock is not yet producing strong alerting signals. Unless you have a sleep disorder such as sleep apnea or insomnia, you may actually sleep well with delayed sleep phase syndrome in terms of duration and quality of sleep. The problem is that the delay makes it difficult to wake up. Part 6. Shift work disorder. Shift work sleep disorder is a circadian sleep disorder in which a person experiences a constant or recurrent pattern of sleep interruption due to shift work schedule, resulting in difficulties initiating and maintaining sleep and/or excessive sleepiness when awake. Other symptoms of shift work sleep disorder include difficulty concentrating, headaches, and low energy. Non-traditional shifts, particularly rotating shifts, force people to place their sleep window at a time that is not congruent with their underlying circadian clock. Rotating shifts also weaken the signals from the internal clock, leading to greater difficulties with sleep and sleepiness. As a result, people with shift work sleep disorder may have trouble staying alert at their work shift, and their sleep is unrefreshing. This is when a person works a shift that does not align with their internal circadian rhythm. This can be either fixed shift or rotating shifts. The person will experience shorter sleep times and disrupted sleep. There will be a significant reduction in alertness, especially during the times where our body is at its lowest part of the rhythm, about 3 a.m. Many people who work rotating shifts never adapt to their unusual or rotating shift schedule. Part 7, jet lag. This is due to a rapid change in time zones. This misaligns the social cues with the biological cues. Being awake longer has less effect than having to go to sleep earlier. The effect of light is biggest influencer in adapting to the new time zone. Part 8, treatment. There is a need for a strong sleep routine, the control of light, and the use of light therapy to help regulate the issue. The strong daytime routine that includes meal times and other daytime cues for wake and sleep. Chronotherapy can be used for someone with delayed sleep phase, but they have to be very motivated as it is time consuming. The use of melatonin can be used under MD recommendations. You are now ready for the next module.